They'll ever be. Good evening, everybody. My name is Scott McCrae. I'm a Shaklee ambassador here in Lakewood, Colorado. Tonight, I have the privilege of bringing to you an interview with Steve and Jeanne Toovel, who are superstars in the Shaklee world. So, without any further ado, we have a short period of time and a lot of questions that I really want to ask. So, Steve and Jeanne, thanks for being our people of interest tonight because you are very interesting people. So,
Okay, we'll
Thank you,
try
Scott.
our best. Thank you.
Thank
one
you.
of the things that I would want to point out very early on is that I've had some interaction with Steve and Jeanne outside of just the normal seeing them from the stage. They're often up on the stage in the Shaklee conferences. I know Rick and Aldana have spent time on the training side of the Shaklee field, working with big groups, conference halls full of people. So really to see them from afar was one thing, but when Jane and my wife and I were walking through the dinner area on a cruise ship that we had qualified for a Shaklee incentive trip. It was just us. This was our first one. And we walked by Steve and Jeannie's table and they asked if we would like to join them for dinner. And that was where we got to sit down and actually meet them for the first time face to face. So a memory that will be burned into my brain forever. So why are they
Oh,
so
that's good.
special? Well, we're going to find that out. Well,
Uh-huh.
so Gina, you and Steve were both teachers in the beginning when you first started your life together. Can you tell us a little bit about that and take us back to that time in your life where your mind was at and why Shackley was attractive to you
Mm,
for that?
okay. Steve, do you want to start? Maybe?
Um, sure, if you don't mind, Scott.
Not at all.
For those of you who don't know us that well, right now we're down in Florida right now. And so I was thinking like, what did I want to say in terms of our story? And the term the perfect storm came to my mind. Living in Florida, we sort of experienced that on occasion, the perfect storm, meaning the hurricanes. And for us, Virginia and myself, when we decided to join Shackley and create the lifestyle that we've enjoyed for so many years, it was the perfect storm, meaning that all the different elements in our lives were coming to a head. And it was the perfect time for us to make a decision to join and to do something along the lines of Shackley. So, Scott, you were right. Both Jeannie and I were teachers. We were both elementary school teachers. I was actually an art teacher. I taught art, and Jeannie taught fourth grade and was a reading specialist also. And we were very dedicated to our professions. And I never realized or thought that somewhere down the road, I would be actually, Jeannie and I would be involved in a business opportunity. But the elements in this storm came to a head one day because for years, I suffered from some really bad health issues. And I struggled with them for years, and it impacted not only my health, but my ability to work as a teacher. And one day, a teacher in my school knew of my problems and asked if I wouldn't mind starting on a couple of supplements. And I was pretty much open to that. I was already taking a multiple vitamin, so I kind of knew that there were gaps in my diet. That's an understatement. So I was willing to start with, in those days, it was protein and Vital E. And after a couple of weeks, I had some really, really good results. And the teacher who introduced me to these products, seeing that, asked if we would mind if she and her husband would come over to our home and share a little bit more about the company that was manufacturing these products. And since I felt pretty good about the products and on the products, I said, sure, why don't you come over? Number one, not only did I really feel good about the products, but this couple we trusted them very much. As I mentioned, I worked with the gal as a teacher, and her husband happened to be our family dentist. So they came over one night and we sat down at the table and they started telling us about all these wonderful benefits and the background of this company, its heritage, its history. And that was back in 1982. So it's even greater nowadays with so many years gone past. And I was sitting there getting very, very excited. Jeannie, on the other hand, wasn't too excited. As a matter of fact, she would tell you that as our friend was going through the presentation, she was kind of kicking me under the table, like don't you dare say anything that would commit us to do anything at this point. So we went through the presentation, and I have to tell you, I was thoroughly impressed. I love the idea of creating a second stream of income, and Jeannie will tell you a little bit about that in a minute. But I love the idea of creating a second stream of income for our family. Jeannie had some goals for herself in terms of not only her career, but we were also relatively new parents at the time.
Mhm.
So that impacted our decision to start a Shaklee business as well. And so at the end of the presentation, I was pretty ready to get started. And we had a discussion, and Jeannie likes to say that, well, she doesn't like when I say that she is the dutiful wife at that time. That's way back when, 50 years ago. She kind of agreed to do this business and start it with me and help me out at that particular point. So that's really how we started the business. And so I'm going to let Jeannie just talk a little bit about her goals,
Mhm.
why she decided, as you asked,
Uh,
Scott, why did she make the decision to join Shaklee other than to be in agreement with me at that particular
Right.
time?
Yeah, no, he's right. It was the one of the few times where I totally was submissive and listened to what he had to say.
Jeannie let me do belly rubs in those
Right,
days.
right. So, you can't do that on these calls anymore. So anyway, for me, I was in a different position. I had taken a leave from teaching because I was a stay-at-home mom. And, even women today, I love being a stay-at-home mom, but it was like, I was missing something in life, was basically using my brain. That's what I was missing. And the other thing I was missing was money. When you stop working and only one person is working, we were just living on Steve's salary. And at that time, it wasn't very much. So I was very frustrated and I was subbing and I was, doing different things to make a little extra money here and there. So the thought of buying Shaklee products, where are we going to get the extra money for that? And Steve was even talking about getting a loan to buy the products. And I thought that was like insane. But the thing is, we were stuck. We were stuck because I wanted to stay home, but I also wanted to add to our family's not wealth at that time. It was just many of you know my story, but I just wanted to go to the supermarket and not have subtotals anymore. Subtotals is when you put everything on the conveyor belt, and in those days, that's how long ago it was. I would say to the lady, "What is my subtotal?" And if it was more than I could really spend, I literally had to take things off of the conveyor belt and put them away. And I don't know if anybody's lived like that, but it's awful. It's awful when you have to put food back because you think, and today I even put food back because the prices are so high. Now I'm only kidding. So, that's kind of why we got into this and why I kind of agreed with Steve. It was really that I wanted something for myself and I wanted to just have the freedom of having a little bit more money at the end of the month. That was really it. And Steve was right. We trusted those people. And I think what I saw in Steve was more than me, that he saw a future for us because we were always on this treadmill of trying to make ends meet. And we didn't really have, and by the way, Steve is very modest, but he almost had his doctorate with the time that these people came over. That's how many credits he had and his thesis and everything. So educational wise, and I had my master's, not that we were very smart, but we had our degrees and we still were not making ends meet, right?
Absolutely.
So we
Yeah.
kind of saw a future in this. And that's why we agreed to give this a try. And I don't know if we were really successful at it at the beginning, but we were very fortunate because we're very coachable and we just really listened to what these people said to us. They said you have to go out and talk to people. And I have to give my husband a lot of credit because I'm kind of the front person. Many times people think it's Jeannie's business, but it's not. He was the one who did the first couple appointments. I was home with babies. He went out, really the first, I don't know, we signed the
You don't have to
application.
do that.
No,
Really, you don't have to
when did we sign the application?
April 1982.
And within 2 weeks, he was out there doing appointments with our sponsor. So we must have seen something in it that gave us the courage or the confidence. Because people always say, "Well, why did you do that?" And that's why it's hard for us to understand why people can't just go out and share it because we really were quite frightened and not confident to do it, but we saw something in it that would give us a change in our life. So for that
Yeah.
reason,
So for
yeah,
all those reasons, like the perfect storm, all those elements came together, and that really excited us. And it's been a wonderful journey so far, and we've loved the lifestyle that Shaklee has afforded us. And many of you hopefully have enjoyed some of the benefits as well along your way. And as Jeannie said, we really had no training. We have no sales experience or business experience. We've never been entrepreneurs. So we were a little afraid at first. We were a little nervous. And what assured us was that the couple that introduced us, and by the way, they were only 3 months ahead of us. They joined 3 months before we
but they
did.
seem so smart.
Yeah, they were intuitive. Let me tell you, they were really good leaders considering their lack of experience as well. But between their experience and our excitement, and we were also introduced, I think this is really very important. There was a process. There was something, there was a program that we could follow. And Gina and I both looked at each other and we said, gee, we can do that. We like the idea of talking to people, of teaching and coaching people, introducing them to health-oriented products. So it was really a given for us that this was a great fit.
Did
Well,
we
I know
give you
you
that
guys,
answer? It was pretty long, right?
I know
Beautiful.
you guys ask questions all the time. I just remember when we spoke at Shower of Stars and we connected with you guys in Dinkles and we just spent hours and hours with you just asking question after question after question. It was just
Yes,
awesome.
Yeah.
that's
We've
right.
had a lot of role models in Shaklee, and the
Yes,
Seymours have been one of them.
absolutely. Absolutely.
I'll second that.
Yeah, for sure. It's a good point.
So tell me, Jeannie, when was it that you saw the the leadership component over the product component as your way to grow faster? Could you talk a
Yeah.
little bit about that?
Sure. Um, to be quite frank, from the very beginning, we knew that we were not going to just sell the products. I'm going to be very frank with you. We knew from the beginning to have the future we wanted, we would have to also build a team from the very beginning. So we were very open to showing both, depending upon what someone needed. But the turning point for me, and it's a really good question, was when I went to a convention for me when I went to a convention and saw other women like myself earning six-figure incomes, having the freedom, having the ability to choose whether they go back to work or not, and just seeming really happy with their lives at that point, it resonated with me. And, I was really quite skeptical until I went to a convention. I really had one foot in my ability to do Shackley, but I had one escape way that I could always go back to teaching. And really, my foot was in both places. And so when I went to this convention and saw this lifestyle, I was just like, maybe I could do it. It's like my confidence was built. Steve's confidence was there really honestly from the beginning, but mine, I wasn't sure. And it was hard for me because I was teaching. I had a retirement program, which meant it was non-contributory in New York, which meant that if I continued to work, I would have a pension from the state of New York that I did not have to contribute to. That's huge. That's huge. So coming back, I realized that number one, if I was going to do this, I'd have to give up teaching. I'd have to really focus on this, at least in my mind. So that was number one. Number two, we came back, we heard some speakers, and they shared with us that they had trainings and they taught people, and they weren't just selling the products, but they helped people change their lives financially with the way they were doing it. And we looked at each other, and honestly, I think it was after that convention we came back and we had a weekly meeting.
Mhm.
And we decided, of course, today it's on Zoom. In those days, it's home. But we committed to a weekly meeting, whether there was somebody in that room or not. We were going to teach the fundamentals and the skills of this business. And that was when we came back from a convention. So I'm a big believer that going to a convention is really a turning point for people because it wasn't just our sponsors, it wasn't just the people we saw in our neighborhood. It was a huge, and now there's going to be the 70th convention. You can imagine, and the worldwide component of it, it just opened up my mind. It expanded my vision of what this could be. Still wasn't sure if it was going to work for us, but we definitely, that's where I changed my decision, Scott, that I was going to switch from selling, still selling. I mean, I would never close the door on someone who wanted the products. But my thought process was, how can I help that person to number one, pay for their products, but number two, help them with their health, but number three, maybe give them a financial option that they didn't know they had before.
When was it that you made the run for master? Obviously, that is a huge commitment, and it's a kind of a you put your running shoes on and you don't take them off until you get to the finish line.
Steve, you want to
Well,
answer that?
that's a good question, Scott. I think it's a almost like a natural progression. If you're doing what you're supposed to be doing in this business and your business is growing, Shaklee is always dangling that carrot in front of you anyway. So if you are successful helping a few people get what they want in life, you say to yourself, why don't we just continue to do this, help a few more people? And it's just the nature of the business. So Jeannie is very, very goal oriented. She's very goal oriented, and I love the idea of achievement. But she's the one who really is the one who wants to strive for the ranks. Quite frankly, in those days, the biggest benefit that I was interested in, not even talking about Master, Scott, was I loved the car program. That was the heart and soul of why I initially got involved in Shaklee. I wanted a new car. Today, things are different. The benefits are different nowadays, which is fine. But going for Master, for me, it was just a natural progression. We went from one rank to the next to the next. And we clearly knew at a certain point that master was within our reach.
Mm.
And so we just continued to set goals for ourselves. And we've held the rank of master now for quite a number of years. But as Jeannie said, we weren't superstars at the beginning, but we were good students. And I have to say that meeting all the successful people, Jeannie mentioned the conventions. I think that was a big part for me, that we were able to meet so many successful people, and we were introduced through our uplines to so many other master coordinators,
Right.
that we saw that, hey, these were just like regular people doing what they were taught to do. And we said to ourselves, hey, you know something, we can do this too.
Yeah.
So in terms of, an exact moment or a date or a time, I think it was over a period of time.
Yeah, it definitely was over a period of time, but I always tell the story that in the early years, it's important to have a goal board, to set goals, what rank you want, what income you want, what lifestyle, whatever your dream is, has to be kind of visually there. And we always had the word master coordinator at the top. And we used to laugh that it turned yellow because it would have a date and then we'd scratch it off and put another date and scratch it off and put another date. But it was always on the top. So it was a long range goal for us because we were not in this for quick money or quick success. We were in this to change our lives. And when you do that, you have to kind of aim for the highest. You may never get there, but it has to be there. Steve also has a philosophy. You have to have something to look forward to in life. And when we heard the stories, how Shaklee treats you as a master, we've had the pleasure of being at Rogers' homes, San Francisco and Miami. We've been to all his homes. We knew that that was something that existed for masters. We knew how they would treat us. And when you come from very simple upbringings and simple economic situations, that's a life that, it's not the rich and famous, but it's pretty close to it. And whether or not you want to be the rich and famous, it's okay to live like the rich and famous, right? So it was all of those, it was really the stories, right? The stories of these masters. So it wasn't one day that we made the decision. We knew from the beginning that if we wanted to have success, and I have to encourage all of you for that, whatever success you want, you have to reach for that pinnacle because then the steps, you kind of work backwards from there and the steps exist for you. So, I really feel so sad sometimes when people give up their dream to be a master because there were many times where we reached a rank and lost a rank and reached a rank and lost a rank. It wasn't smooth sailing, but it was always gradual that we went up. And that's why we've been able to be at this rank for many, many years. We became masters in 95 and we've been that rank all the years and we're very proud of that. But it was because we weren't like trying to achieve something fast because when you build something very, very fast, it's not
Mm.
stable.
It's
It's
fragile,
not
isn't it? Yeah.
strong, right? We wanted stability. That's why we found Shaklee, right? Shaklee
Absolutely,
was so
sure.
stable that that appealed to us, the stability, the strength. And even now, the last 20 years, 21 years with Roger, I mean, look what's happening. 200,000 new people coming into this business in a year. I don't care whether you agree with that or not. That's huge. That's huge. There's no other
Absolutely.
company that has that right now. So, it's not how fast. And if you quit, you would not have had this amazing business that is now like we're like the gem of the industry. It's just like I know for the Seymours, they're sitting there and going, listen, we knew it was the gem of this the industry, but nobody else did. Now we are proud of where Shackley is, right, Aldona and Rick?
Sure.
We're proud of where we are. And it was seeing masters like Rick and Aldona. You're right. Seeing them on stage, hearing their story, with her long hair and his long hair and that little place that they had in the mountains and they had
The
no
hip,
money.
the
The,
hippie
the
couple,
hippie
the hippie.
couple,
Yeah.
because we were hippies too. And, we saw what they had achieved. And so it was inspiring to us. The stories were inspiring. And that's when we made the decision that we wanted to have what they had. Not competitively, but just we wanted that life.
Absolutely. I have a couple more burning questions for you. Number one, when you come across someone who is skeptical about the network marketing industry and you have come from a place where you had to start with your first appointment, you've been through all these years, massively successful at the end of it. And if somebody were skeptical in the beginning saying, oh, this will never work, good luck, or in the end, well, you got in when it was good, so I don't have a chance. Could you tell me a little bit about your posture with a new person who's skeptical about the network marketing industry? What would you tell a person? And in the generations that are coming up, the
Mhm.
millennials and Gen Zs and those type of people, there is a good deal of skepticism about what we do. And I think
Mm.
Shackley does it better than anyone else. And I think we have a much more um, approachable opportunity with our stability and our leadership in the industry and our ethics and all that. How would you
Mhm.
how would you or how do you approach that with people who give you some skepticism about the network marketing industry?
Well, I'm going to turn that over to Steve because, whatever happened 30 something years ago happens today. And I just thought of that story that,
Yeah. Well,
mm.
well, Scott, my first question to you is, are people still asking those questions? Are they still skeptical? Really?
Yeah. Oh,
Really,
yes.
after what's going on in the industry? No, that's being
Hard to believe,
facetious.
right?
But yeah, it's hard to believe nowadays with the industry so large as it is. But
Excuse
I think we've encountered that probably hundreds of times, if not thousands of times, because we went out looking for people on a regular basis. How did we deal with that? I think what I learned through the years, Scott, is that if you focus on their wants and their needs, if you ask enough questions, if you get to know their hurt, their wants in life, it's easy to relate what we have to offer to helping them get what they want. And so it's almost as if once we do that, those questions don't even exist anymore. Really, that those concerns don't really exist anymore. Realistically, are people going to ask those? I think they will if we don't really do enough question asking of those people and enough digging into who they are and what they want in life. Once we can do that, those concerns may exist, but not to the degree that they would if we didn't do that, if we didn't have those kinds of conversations first. So how do you deal with those? Well, that's a good question. We usually ask them, what do you know? I mean, there are so many different resources that are available to help people learn how to respond to objections. Those are something that we taught people, and I'm sure Rick and Aldama have done for years and years and years. And it's funny, no matter how long ago it is, people still have the same concerns. And I get that. So it's really a matter of teaching them not only to ask questions, but to find out a little bit more. They need to find out a little bit more about not only who we are, but what our issue was, what got us involved in the business, very briefly, because we're not going to focus on who we are, we're going to focus on who they are and what their questions and concerns are. But once we can do that, and once we can answer those questions, the best thing to do is, for me, it was meeting other successful Shaklee people or showing examples of other success. And that's why in this business is wonderful, because you have uplines. You have someone who has some degree of success. And the first thing that we did was, after having an initial consultation with somebody, we would quickly introduce them to our uplines for a follow-up as well, until we got good enough to answer all of their questions and their concerns without even doing that. But we always made sure that if people had questions and concerns, we had to somewhat prove to them that this was a for real business and there were successful people in it. I can relate very quickly. There was a story. We were brand new in Shaklee, and I was chatting with a fellow that I was bowling with. I used to bowl years and years ago. And I approached him and I said, Dave, his name was Dave. I said, Dave, this is a great business. You could make, probably about $25,000 your first year in this business. And he turned around and looked me square in the eye and he asked me, he said, Steve, how much are you earning? So we knew if we were going to go out and talk to people, we better move our you-know-whats and get some people into this business to be successful as well. But I think
Well,
it's,
you, in all fairness, the way I remember the
yeah,
story
yeah.
is he said to Dave, I'm not making a lot right now, but I am.
But I will be making it.
And that's the
Yeah.
posture. Like if you knew how little he was making at the time, like, you've heard stories, but now the upfront money or the front end money in the plan is much better. But in those days it wasn't. So, 10, 20, $30 your first 6 months is not impressive. But Steve's posture was, but we are. And what I think he was doing was saying, look, you don't have to join us. But if you do, we'll take you along with us to earn that. So that was the posture that he had. Because when he came home and told me that story, I said, are you crazy? We're not even making money yet. But he had that posture, that belief that we would. And I guess whether
I
you
think
believe it or
I
not,
think that's very important.
yeah.
It's your self-confidence,
Mhm.
not to show a degree of hesitation or weakness or anything like that. It's being positive
Yeah.
and projecting that positiveness to people that you're talking
Because
with.
who's going to follow you? If you're unsure and you're scared, no one's going to follow you. But if you have a posture, even though maybe, they always say we're like little ducks in Shaklee, we're real smooth on the surface, but underneath we're like this, right? So you kind of have to put that posture in front of you. And I talk a lot, we've always talked a lot about courage in this business, more than skills
Right.
because people do ask you a lot of questions and you have to have the courage and the belief. I mean, you just saw, oh, I won't go into that. But the belief in yourself, that you're going to do this, even though you may be 90% unsure that you can, but that 10% has to come across. And I think today, to be honest, I think it's easier today to recruit people than it was years ago.
Mm.
I think this generation, all these millennials and Xers and whatever you want to call them, I think they're more open to not being traditional. See, we were very traditional. You have a job, you graduate, right? That was kind of our road. In fact, going into Shaklee was a little kooky because that wasn't exactly what you're supposed to do. I think young people today, when I speak to them, they're willing to take a risk because they don't have a future. No one's going to hire them for 20, 30 years like people hired us, right?
Mhm.
So I think that when people ask questions and they're not sure about Shackley or network marketing or if they've heard it, um, I think they just want, tell me about it. And the other thing I think what happens over time, and I think it happened to us over time, is who cares if they don't join you? Go to the next one. Like, don't spend all your effort trying to convince someone that network marketing is great because it's not an easy business. It's not, right?
Yeah.
You've got to
Yeah.
go through a lot of people. You've got to really, keep yourself self-motivated and all the stuff about being an entrepreneur. So you better realize that, you're going to talk to people. And I think Rick used to teach this all the time. You have to talk to, I'm probably mouthing what you taught me. You have to, you talk to people who lean in, who want to hear more. Stevie leaned in. He was open, right? They didn't talk to me that night because they saw I was like this. They didn't try to convince me that night. They were trying to paint a picture for you
Mhm.
because Steve was the
Right.
open one, right? So, Scott, I think the answer is no one's any different this year than they were 30 or 40 years ago. As a matter of fact, I think they're more open. That's why you see all these people coming over to Shackley because also 30 years ago or 40 years ago, wellness was important, but not as important as it is now. Not as important. I mean, like 30, 40 years ago, yes, there was Dr. Shackley and there was medicine and there were pharmaceuticals, but now nobody wants to go the
Yeah.
pharmaceutical
Yeah,
route, you know.
the generation now is so much more into health and wellness than we
Yeah,
ever were, way back 30, 40 years ago. Today, this
yeah.
generation, everywhere you turn, you see the term wellness. And there's exercising, and there's this program, and there's this product, and people are just, particularly the younger generation, they are so much concerned about their health now than our generation was. So
Yeah.
we had to persuade people to
To-
be healthy. Today, it's part of their mindset.
yeah.
It's who they are and what they want to be. So in that respect, and by the way, I want to compliment everybody who's on this webinar because each and every one of you has the ability to go out there and share the Shackley story. It's not fair if you don't. It really isn't. Every person that you go out there and talk to is going to thank you long term. They're going to either thank you for introducing them to the products, but imagine if you do share the opportunity with them and they grow exponentially. Not only do they improve their health, but they improve the health of scores or maybe even hundreds of other people. And it's all because you used the word courage, because you had the courage to share something that you had a conviction about.
Hmm.
That's really what it's about, having the courage, having the belief, and having the conviction that what you have is of value and sharing it with other people. You don't want to keep this business a secret. You really don't. Roger, by the way, Roger would thank you personally.
And that's the other reason that young people, and even, we didn't have silver sneakers when we were young. I didn't look for silver sneakers. Now there's silver sneakers. You could be 90 years old and get on Zoom and do exercise programs. So wellness is like every age right now. But Roger is a key too. When people are negative or have a lot of questions, I show them the videos of Roger. This last one was interview with Time Magazine or whatever it was. If you don't want to join a billionaire who's also president of the World Direct Selling Organization, all right, well, then this isn't the right industry for you, right? But how would you like to hook up or be with a man who's a billionaire and has just recruited over 200,000 people in the industry, which he did. So you have to have, again, that posture that this owner, as a matter of fact, a lot of people come over, Roger does his own business presentations for these people. He's the one who does it. He's the one who shows them what his vision is, where the company is going, where the profit margins are. So I think, Scott, to be honest, I think it's really pretty good when people ask questions like that. It's the people who don't ask questions that really never do this business,
I
right?
think if you're prepared
Absolutely.
to answer those objections and you know those objections in advance, you're almost kind of excited when people ask you those questions,
Yeah.
because
Yes.
you're prepared to answer them. So you really need to go back and learn a little bit more, need to be prepared. But I think once you have that, I love that word posture. I love that word posture. I think once you exhibit that posture and that belief and you lean forwards and have that confidence, people are going to want to join you. They actually, it wasn't necessary that we joined Shaklee. We joined the people who presented it to us. That's how we joined. We joined them. Shaklee, we were along for the ride with them, but we joined them. And I think that's a key part for our success in this business. And the people that we brought in loved Shaklee, but they came in because of us. They
Yeah.
trusted us. They believed in what we were doing in life and how we could help them do what they wanted.
Didn't have success.
Yeah.
People followed us, but I think it's because we loved what we were doing. We believed in what we were doing. And I always have a saying to our team when they get scared. I go, like Scott, you're a performer. I remember you performing your magic tricks. I mean, sometimes when I
Oh,
look
that's
at you,
right.
yeah, it's hard
It's
for
all
me.
coming
It's
back to
hard
me.
for me to be serious sometimes because I remember
I'm
we had
always
the
playing with
flower,
cards when
the
I'm
flower,
when I'm
right?
doing webinars. I'm always, yeah,
That's
flipping
why I
playing
said,
cards
okay,
around,
let's see how this goes. And you're so serious. But I always tell our team, fake it till you make it.
Hmm.
That's really what it is. Not that you're being unauthentic or you're lying, but just fake it till you make it. Take on that posture that, you are a master coordinator like Rick and Eldona. You are an interviewer like Scott McRae. Just take that on. And when you build that within you, all of you can attract people. And we want you to attract people. We don't just want Eldona and me and Steve. We've done our attracting already. It's your turn to attract
And let me
people.
just let me just say this, Scott. I know we're probably running out of time, and you may have one more question for us. So let me just say this. You don't have to have the goal of becoming a master coordinator. Not everybody wants to be a master coordinator, but each and every one of you I know has some goal. You join this business for a particular reason. What we found in our group is that when we asked what goals our people had, they always downplayed it. And I always said to them, come on, tell me, what is it that you really want and why did you join Shackley? It's almost as if people are afraid to tell you what they really want in life. So you've got to be patient with them. And not everybody, people in our group have said, we don't want to be masters, but they're successful. They've reached the point in this business. They're happy where they are. And what's nice is there's longevity. They've been with us for, as I'm sure that Rick and Eldime also have had. We have people in our group that have been with us for like 30 years, and we have second generation people now because of their belief in this product and in the company and in us. And I think that's important. So take a look at where you want to be in this business. Are you there? If you're not there, then strive a little bit more. If you're happy where you are, then that's fine also. I don't know if that's something that the Seymours want to hear me say, but if you
We tell
enjoy
our
what you,
people the same thing.
yeah, if you enjoy
Yeah.
what you're doing, what the heck? Enjoy it. Enjoy life. It's a business that you can do for years and years and years and feel fulfilled and feel like you have value with people. I think that's
Yeah,
wonderful.
you don't want to burn out because of a
No.
rank. In fact, Shackley's downplaying ranks a lot because a rank doesn't equal to your passion and your love of this business.
Hmm.
It doesn't equal that. What people are looking for, they don't know what a master coordinator is. They don't know what a senior coordinator. They don't know that. What they want to know is, are you going to be there for me? Are you going to show me the way? And I want to be with you because you're passionate. You love this and just go out there and be happy with what you're doing. Those are the people that are going to join you. And I think that's what we always created in our group, a sense of happiness that we really love what we're doing, and you'll attract the right people too with that. So, Scott, next question. Did we answer everything?
You nailed a couple different questions all in that run. That was
Good.
fantastic. I was going to talk to you a little bit about how you thought Roger has changed the face of Shackley, and obviously you hit that nail on the head. So his leadership has made a huge difference in what Shackley
Yes.
offers to that generation. I'm going to
Yes.
open it up briefly to anybody else who might have a question that I haven't hit on. Rick, Aldana, did you have anything that you wanted to add or ask the Toovels?
You guys did a
You guys
wonderful
did an
job of
amazing
sharing.
job,
Really appreciate it.
and we really appreciate your giving of your time because it's
Absolutely.
a valuable possession. And so thank you so much, Jeannie and Steve.
Of course.
Thank
You've,
you.
Steve, for a long
you've
time.
done so much. You've done so much for us through the years. The list is very, very long.
By the way, for those of you who don't know, Rick and Aldana came to New York.
And we weren't there.
No, we were there. I'm sure we were.
No, we
Well, one
weren't.
time
Once
you
we
were, and one time you weren't.
Yeah, we went to the theater and they did a wonderful job of inspiring our team as well.
Yeah.
So it's reciprocal. Thank
Yeah,
you.
and
That is
people
the Shaklee
always,
way.
yes, it is the Shaklee way.
Yep.
That's so true.
Yep.
So true. Yeah. Any questions?
Shirley had her hand up. Shirley Warren, you got something?
Well, I was just going to say, as you talk about Seymour's offering a lot of inspiration to you, they certainly do to our group as well. We can all fall into line a little bit better and put out more energy with this group. Certainly, I can, and so they do a wonderful job, just like you two do. And we'll see you in Nashville for sure.
Yes, we
That
will.
is
For sure,
right.
we'll see it
Anniversary.
at the birthday party. Definitely.
Yeah, that's
Big
right. Did a
birthday.
great job, really.
Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
thank you very Lots of great words. I've got a whole notebook full here.
Oh, good.
Wonderful.
Very good. You'll have to transcribe it for us so we know what we said.
Very
Well, Jeannie,
inspirational. Thank you for your time.
every
Very.
Yes,
time
thank
that
you,
You're
Mr.
welcome.
John.
absolutely, I was going to say every time Roger asks you to
you.
run something from the stage, it's always
Thank you.
top notch, first class, knock it out of the park. I've never seen you on a bad day, Jeannie, when you're up on stage delivering a message. So,
She loves this. She thrives on it.
and
No,
what's
it's really funny. I thought like, with all these new people, what else can I give to the field, And I remember this last thing, whatever we just had. What do we have just now? This last
You
yeah,
had a
the
Southwest Florida event.
No, that was that, but something on the Zoom. Well, anyway, 2 days before they called me to talk about, getting your name on the Walk of Fame. I don't know if you heard that you can put your name on the Walk. And I said, oh, how can you inspire people to put, get their name? But then I thought about the shower of stars, the Michigan, Aldana and Rick were talking about that, how that little star, I kept my star with my name on it for years on the wall. That was more important to me than anything I'd ever had. So why do I say that? Because all of us have that ability. I think the ability that I have is because we weren't superstars. We just did something every day for Shaklee. And we're now reaping the benefits because honestly, we wanted to get to a place where the business would run itself, where the people would take ownership and leadership themselves, like you are, Scott. That is beautiful. That's all you really want in this business, for people. Like I nurtured people too long sometimes, so it's wonderful, and I really would love to see you all in Nashville coming up to me and just sharing that you're just having fun with your business and you're growing and you're sharing with more people. That's really what we need. And we need it from, I don't know how many of you are new or how many of you have been in Shaklee for a while, but we need the legacy people, the dream people to do that. We need you. We can't just rely on the new people that are coming in because they have a huge learning curve.
Yes, they do.
They have a huge learning curve. And so we really rely on all of you to get the numbers up, to bring new people. And I think when I talk on stage, I try to share with people that no matter whether you're new, old, or been in Shaklee for 50 years, you bring such value to this business, right?
Yeah, and not only that, everybody here tonight is part of the core of Shaklee.
You are.
You're the core. If you've been in this business a number of years, you are the heart of Shaklee. You may not even realize it because you're not a master coordinator or whatever. But your a presence, your participation has established who we are today. So
Yes.
keep on doing what you're doing and just keep going.
if those new people would not have come over, I've talked to so many of them, and I know Rick and Donna have too. They came over because of us, because of the legacy. No other company has that. So, they're looking to you to grow and to expand. And that's the beauty of the business. There's never an end to it. There isn't. It's just always there for us to really grow and to smile and to be happy with it. So, I hope you all make some decision tonight, as Steve said, just to do a little bit more. Just do a little bit more every day. If we can do that, it's just amazing what can happen, right?
Right.
So anyway,
Well,
this was fun. Thank you for asking us. I haven't worked
absolutely.
together with my husband and I forgot how good he is,
He's
But
usually the
we,
quiet one when I see you
Not
two,
just
so
for
it's good
I
to hear
can't get
from
a
you.
word in edgewise. You can experience it tonight.
but for 1 year, he was the one who did all the appointments the first year. And honestly, the other thing he did that was so important is I could have quit a million times, a million times. He didn't let us quit.
And I
He's
think
trying to get me to cry. I won't do
Such
that.
a valuable.
No, he wouldn't. I mean, I used to stand at the door with the kids and say, I got to get out of this. I cannot do this. This is not for me. I'm going back to teaching. And he wouldn't let us quit,
good for you,
and
Steve.
he wouldn't let us quit doing it. Because there's one thing being in it and staying it and not doing it and working it. He really encouraged us every week. He would do appointments after teaching a full day. I would do appointments during the day and at night. So he always encouraged us to do the appointments also. That was the other thing, right?
Thank you, Jeannie.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Wow. Well, let's end it on that note. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank
You're very
you.
welcome.
1,000
Thank
times
you
over.
very
Nice,
much.
nice meeting you all.
Thank
Thank
you.
you all. Really,
Thank
this
you.
was
Hi,
fun.
See you in
Dixie.
Nashville.
In Nashville.
Let me just take a picture of all of you just to prove. I don't put on too much on Facebook anymore for different reasons, but I like to keep a picture when I see all of you. Okay.
Thank you for asking us in the
Thank
first
you.
place.
Yes,
Bye.
that was
Night,
very
Dixie.
honored.
Appreciate it
Very
so
honored.
much.
Good night.
Good
Thank
night,
you.
everybody.
Good
Night,
night.
Joanne.
Thank
Good night,
you.
all.
Bye, Rob.
Charlotte.
Night,
Bye
Larry.
bye now.
Bye.